K-pop fans always tend to have high expectations of their favorite idols' comebacks, but sometimes these expectations aren't met, so here are the 10 songs that fans expected to be hits but turned out to be flops. Let's begin with Everglow's Slay. Everglow in general have had some pretty difficult times these past 2 years. Yerin had her whole kneeling scandal, which made the company put her on hiatus and had fans wondering what would happen to her. Then the group as a whole disappeared for almost 2 years and people thought that this was it. It seemed like Hwasa Entertainment had simply given up on them and that the group would disband quietly without anyone mentioning it. Then, in July of 2023, it was announced that Everglow would be having a comeback with their mini-album All My Girls on August 18th. The teasers looked stunning, and since the girls had been away for a while, everyone had high hopes for the comeback. Then Slay came out. According to fans, the song was underwhelming and sounded outdated, and in general, the comeback didn't do that well. It couldn't reach 50,000 in sales despite the long wait and the desperation of fans, and the streams were pretty low too. You'd think that the comeback would do a lot better since there had been a 2-year wait, but that didn't end up happening. It's honestly sad that the comeback didn't do better because the low numbers might make Hwasa Entertainment delay the comebacks even more. The girls really don't deserve that, and we all know that. Another release that was expected to do much better was EXO's Cream Soda. Similarly to Everglow, EXO released their last album in 2021, and with all the enlistments, the fans didn't expect to see the members get back together even for one comeback. Sure, the members had given hints that they would be releasing something in 2023, but even though they were honest about it, SM Entertainment is not exactly a company to be trusted when it comes to these things. Also, during this time, Chen, Baekhyun, and Sumin announced they were ending their contracts with SM, citing mistreatment and unfair contract terms as the reason for their decision. Additionally, Kai's early enlistment made fans doubt the possibility of a comeback this year, yet the unexpected happened and we got a not that successful comeback. In June of 2023, a week after the 3 members had filed a lawsuit against SM and a month after Kai enlisted, SM announced that EXO would be coming back with a full album. So the stakes were high as it was their first release in 2 years and the group had gone through so much in such a short time. Cream Soda came out and even though the expectations were high, the album and the song didn't do as well as one would have thought. Maybe it was the bad timing, the limited promotions, or the fact that there were other comebacks happening at the same time, but the comeback kind of flopped when compared to other works by EXO. The album did sell well and it's no wonder because the album was a masterpiece, but it did significantly worse than other EXO releases and it was quickly forgotten. Again, it's very likely that this happened because of SM's poor planning and promotions, but it's just disappointing that fans waited 2 years for a full album and the company managed to mess up on properly promoting it. We can mostly agree that one of the most shocking news of 2022 is the news of Jini leaving NMIX and JYP Entertainment. Seeing as she had given no indication of any problems with the company or just any problems for that matter, this was pretty unexpected. However, it was even more shocking when Jini announced that she would be making her debut as a soloist. Things started off on a good note. The teasers were impressive and grabbed people's interest. She would be releasing 5 songs and working with well-known producers, and her title track was a collaboration with the American rapper Amin. This was enough to get a lot of people excited at the release of the album, and even people who hadn't been interested in NMIX were planning to tune in. But then she was hit with plagiarism accusations, and the album as well as the title track failed to live up to the expectations. While it was good and it had an impressive amount of sales for a soloist that had debuted under a small company, it didn't chart anywhere and failed to make any noise. It was soon forgotten, despite having lots of potential. Jini will likely make a comeback and redeem herself in her next release, so let's wait for that to happen. ITZY's so-called downfall has been discussed for a few months now. They were one of the leading groups of the 4th generation up until Loco was released, and even though they did pretty good even later, everyone was convinced that they'd fallen off. Songs like Sneakers and Cake were the cherry on top as they were highly hated releases among casual listeners and some fans. Cake had been especially disappointing to fans as they'd been expecting an entirely different song based on the teasers that had been released. The song didn't chart all that well, and seeing as once ITZY used to rule the 4th generation, the results were not what everyone would expect of a group like them. The song also lost the group a lot of fans, and casual listeners didn't tune in anymore. In the standards of international fans, ITZY's Cake was a total flop, and it ruined the momentum that the group had built ever since they debuted. Again, the charts and sales say otherwise, but hey, taste is subjective after all. Yena also had quite the strong start as a soloist, and it had her fans wanting more. Her debut song, Smiley, was a hit, Smartphone was a fan favorite, and Love War showed us a new side of hers that we hadn't seen before. Hate Rodrigo managed to turn the tides though, and ended up causing a lot of trouble for Yena. Of course, there was the whole thing with Olivia Rodrigo and her team understandably having an issue with her name being used on a track like this, but there was more to the drama. Her team's mishandling of the matter led to to the comeback being forgotten very quickly. In fact, the comeback mostly made noise because of the controversy rather than the song itself. It was also Yena's lowest-selling album, and we're sure that Yena, along with her fans, would want to move past this little episode, especially with the controversy that surrounded it. Hopefully, she'll return next year with a good old banger that will make us fall in love with her all over again. Hwasa didn't have any controversies in regards to her comeback with I Love My Body, but it still failed to perform well. Up to this point, Hwasa had some very popular and loved solo songs, even among those who weren't fans. So when she signed with P Nation, fans expected that she would have full creative freedom over her music and release more bops. Then, when she announced that she would be making her first comeback under her new company on September 6th, everyone had been ecstatic. Hwasa was now under a company that let her do anything she wanted, so the expectations for this comeback were over the roof. The teaser pictures managed to raise the anticipation too. They exuded classiness and sophistication, and it was amazing Hwasa managed to display her allure while maintaining a tasteful appearance. Moreover, the references to Narcissus that had Hwasa looking in the mirror while also acknowledging the viewer was a stroke of genius, so people were looking forward to seeing what Hwasa had prepared for her first release under P Nation. Let's just say that once the song came out, everyone was disappointed. It didn't sound like something that Hwasa would release, especially considering the types of songs she had released in the past. It was a fun, easy listen, but it didn't really hold its ground when standing next to her previous releases. People said that it sounded like an AI-generated Meghan Trainor song in Hwasa's voice, and while I Love My Body isn't the worst song that was released this year, it certainly wasn't the best either. LE SSERAFIM had a pretty good comeback after the whole Garam scandal by releasing Anti-Fragile, which was a hit by all definitions. This raised the expectations for their next comeback, especially the teasers. Cho Gi-sok being involved in the teaser pictures for Unforgiven, as well as the Nile Rodgers feature, made everyone's eyes turn to them, waiting to tune into the album they were releasing. However, Unforgiven was a bit disappointing for them. It didn't perform terribly on the charts, but compared to Anti-Fragile, it felt somewhat lackluster. It's no wonder that the B-side from the same album, Eve, Psyche, and the Bluebeard's Wife, did a lot better and got more attention than the title track. Thankfully, LE SSERAFIM didn't take long to get back in the public's good graces by releasing Perfect Night, but we can't lie, we're very curious to see what they'll release next. Since Sunmi's last comeback was a single album back in 2022, there were high expectations for her most recent release. From the teasers, it seemed like Stranger and its music video were going to be dark and horror-like, and the music video didn't disappoint in that sense. The song didn't have the same effect on people though. Fans stated that Stranger sounded like 3 separate songs stitched together in a messy way, and overall, the comeback hadn't been what everyone had expected. This reflected on the charts as well. The song didn't chart as well as other Sunmi songs did, and it didn't have a lot of streams as well. Sunmi is a much-loved solo artist in Korea, so the outcome of this comeback, especially after fans eagerly waited for a whole year, was somewhat of a letdown. Well, whatever your opinions may be on this comeback, it's sure that whatever she does will do much better. What song do you think unexpectedly flopped this year? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.